everybody! You asked me for more storytime videos, and seeing as I'm in my bedroom, I thought I would give a spicy story. This is from when I used to go clubbing when I first arrived in Japan. I think this is actually my first year living in Japan, so I was still kind of like naive, and this is a story about how I was almost tricked into doing something very bad. Oh yeah, sorry about the angle. My tripod's a little bit broken, and I don't know, this this angle's really giving cam girl, but I kind of like it for this video, so we're just gonna go with it. So yeah, my first year in Japan, I was clubbing quite a lot, mostly because it's a good way to meet people, and I really enjoy dancing and music, and honestly, I was living in Saitama, so there wasn't really ways to meet people, and clubbing can be a good way to meet people. So because I was a regular at this club, of course I made a whole bunch of friends, and my favorite friends that I made in the club were these two Japanese models. They were honestly the most gorgeous women I've ever met in my entire life. I think they were university students at that time, but they also did modeling full-time, and they were just so hot, and I was just so happy that they wanted to be my friend. So of course we used to hang out in the ladies area and like drink and just mess around, and it was also just good Japanese practice for me because they didn't speak English, so we had like a whole bunch of fun for like a few weeks in a row. And then one fateful day, we were drinking, and they asked me to come to their house party that they were holding, and they told me it was at their apartment or their house, and it was already like, I don't know, like 2 o'clock, so I mean there's a couple hours until the first train starts, so I was like, okay, sounds like fun, sounds pretty tame, sure, why not. I asked them who was going, and they just said it was a bunch of people, like their friends, and I don't know, it seemed pretty fun. I've never been really to a Japanese house party before. As you've probably heard, it's not that usual for Japanese people to have house parties as such, obviously because the living spaces are a little bit smaller here, but there are drinking parties, nabe parties, stuff like that, so it's not too uncommon, and it was my first time, so I just really wanted to see what a Japanese house party would entail, and my god, I wasn't expecting this. So we ended up taking a cab, and immediately I noticed it was me, the 2 models, and they brought 3 guys with them, which automatically means that we're paired up. Luckily for me, somehow I got paired with like the most handsome one. He was half Japanese, half Filipino, and he was really nice, and he was really my type, but like I've just been paired with a random man, and I'm going somewhere that I don't know where I'm going, and I don't remember being like drinking a whole lot, but I have no idea where this place is. I think it was in Tokyo somewhere, but like I have absolutely no idea where we went, so I guess I did drink a little bit more than I thought I did. So anyways, we're chatting in the cab. I'm really shy around guys, particularly back then, so yeah, I was very nervous. We arrived at my friend's apartment, and when we got there, the guy I'm with walks up and opens the door and goes inside, and I was like, I thought you told me this is your place, and she's like, no, it's his place. I'm like, okay, like, you lied to me, but whatever, okay. We get inside, and it's just like a normal Japanese apartment, just like a kind of 1 room with a bathroom and like a kitchen kind of in the same room, and like a table in the middle, and there's already like drinks and food and stuff like that set out, so I guess this was kind of planned already. Like, was I just like a pawn in their plan? I mean, I definitely was, but yeah, I guess that made me feel a little bit uneasy, but there was snacks, so I mean, I was gonna stay just for the snacks. After that, it was actually super fun. We were playing card games, like Japanese card drinking games. I have no idea what we're playing because I guess I was completely blasted, but it was super fun, that's what I remember. And I think we also played Uno, which I never played before. Don't know the rules, still don't know the rules, but I guess I was having fun, and it was just very casual and just nice. So we played that for a few hours, and until it started to get light, and I was starting to get sleepy. And then that's when things took a turn for the worst. My friend said, okay, let's go to bed now. I'm like, sweet, okay, I guess we're sleeping here. I guess I can get like 1 hour of shut-eye before the first train comes. And they're like, okay, so I'm gonna take this. There's like futons laid out. She's like, we're gonna take these futons. The other girl, she's gonna go here with that guy, and you're gonna stay on the sofa with that guy. I'm like, not sure I feel comfortable sleeping with someone I just met, like, in a room. And they're like, oh, we're not going to be sleeping. I was like, what do you mean we're not going to be sleeping? And at this point, okay, we had been fine until now, but at this point, there was a language barrier. I'm like, I don't know what are you saying? Like, I don't know this terminology. And I looked it up on my phone, and it translated to group sex. I was like, oh, I meant that kind of party. And I was like, oh, absolutely not. No, I'm sorry. Thank you, but no. And they were really surprised. They were like, huh? You mean in your country you don't have group sex parties? I'm like, I mean, no, yeah. I mean, no, I haven't. So, like, I don't know. I don't think it's like, no, like, we don't, it's not like a usual thing. Like, I'm sure there's definitely that. Like, I've heard of swingers parties before, but I've never heard of this as being like a normal occurrence. So then we paused the party to have a very long, awkward conversation about how in Japan every single person does this, and in fact it's expected to do this. And if I am gonna live in Japan, I need to follow the rules, and I need to go to group sex parties. It was a very weird conversation, and like, I'm a very when in Rome person, but this is just something I could not get behind. And at this point, like, I didn't know. I thought maybe this is a cultural thing. Like, maybe this is a rite of passage. But I don't know, like, why I have to participate. And so basically, at that time, I was like, maybe no, I can't. Like, particularly for me, like, I'm not, like, super prudish, but I don't, maybe it's, like, a British thing, but, like, absolutely not. And, yeah, and this conversation went on for quite a while, and I guess they got bored, and they, started to take off their clothes. And the two girls are, like, taking off their clothes, and the two guys are just sitting there, and, the guy I'm with is sitting there just like waiting for me to make my mind up. And the girls are like, well, like, it's fine, you know, like, I don't mind if you see me naked. I don't mind if you see me have sex with this guy. Like, we're gonna end up all having sex together anyways by the end of the night. And I was like, okay, I can't. And I just like started packing my stuff to leave. And they were already like semi-naked and like before I left. And so the guy who I was paired with walked me to his door, and he was like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, he was really understanding, and he was like, no, that's fine. I can understand why you might not be comfortable with the idea of this. I'm like, oh, cool, well, I'm gonna head out now, but thank you. And then we actually exchanged lines, and he said, yeah, let's go out for a drink sometime, like under more normal circumstances. So I was like, okay, and I left. This is where the story actually gets even funnier. So I don't know what happened after I left. I don't know if that guy joined in. I don't know if they were like swapping. I honestly, I don't want to know. So, but the guy seemed nice. I'm like, I guess we could go on a date. And he was messaging me quite a lot. So he seemed like interested. I mean, he did want to have group sex with me, so I assumed he was somewhat interested in getting coffee. But then we arranged to have a date, and closer to the date of us meeting, he actually did ghost me. Luckily I didn't go to the date, but like I kind of figured out that he ghosted me. Then something like 4 months later, he messaged me out of the blue, and he was like, hey, how are you? Like something really stupid like that. And I was like, didn't you ghost me? And then he said, oh, thank God that you didn't block me. I was in a car accident and I broke all my ribs and I couldn't reply. Honestly, this exact thing has happened to so many of my friends. Like, guys will just ghost you and then they'll mail you like, oh, thank God, I was in a car accident, or I was in a coma, or I lost my memory, or just something bizarre like we were actually born yesterday. Like, how stupid do you think I am? And I said, if you were in a car accident and you broke all your ribs, why couldn't you just still use your phone? And then he ghosted me again. So that was the end of that. So what can we take away from this story? Why am I telling you this stupid story? Well, I think it's important to know that if you're moving to Japan or literally any country, that you're going to be really naive and people will try to take advantage of that. Like, I don't necessarily think that the people in this story were bad, but it happened to me quite a lot, particularly in my first year in Japan. People will try to get me to do something, and when I don't want to do it, they'll say, huh, but everyone in Japan does this. You should really do it. In fact, if you don't do this, you're offending us. So there is kind of like that kind of bullshit in every country. So I think it's just important to trust your gut instinct, because I think that could have actually worked on quite a lot of people, but it actually didn't work on me. I explained this story to a couple of people, other foreign girls in Japan, and they actually had similar stories. One of my friend, I was invited to a house party after a club, and she went, and it was like quite a big house. It was a different situation to mine, and there was already like 30 people there, and it seemed like a normal house party, but then after a while, people started to just take off their clothes and start having sex all over the house. And there was another Japanese girl there who was really, really shocked. And my friend ended up taking that girl, and then they like just left and probably went to Matsuya or something, who just ate until the first train. So like, this is a thing. It's definitely not a cultural thing. It is definitely not like a really widespread popular thing, but it is a thing. So if people invite you to a house party, probably ask if there's going to be group sex there first, because you never know, honestly. You never know. I actually stopped going clubbing a little bit after this happened, so I'm kind of, sometimes I wonder where those two girls are and what they're doing. Probably having group sex. But honestly, not a fan personally, but I mean, if that's your thing, then go for it. It seemed like they were having a great time. So yeah, thank you for listening to my story. Please tell me if anything like this has happened to you. I hope to God that it has not. And yeah, please subscribe.